Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Master Phil in your corner with your host, Master Phil.
Woo! This is why Ric Flair comes up when the music, because I give my Ric Flair woo before we start the segment. Well, welcome to Master Phil in your corner with Master Phil and my fearless partner in crime here, Dougie Fresh Friedman at the Undefeated Media Studios. And boy, do we have a show for you today. I know we've been a little dormant, but heck, we're coming out of the gate, both guns blasting. The title to this episode is We the Sheeple. We the Sheeple of the untied states of America make a proclamation of dependence. You're like, whoa, Master Phil, what are you saying? We the sheeple? Or so we the people? Untied states, it's the United States. Proclamation of dependence? We're an independent nation. Well, I'll tell you what, if we keep operating under hatred and fear, we're no longer going to be the United States of America as we know it. I mean, you got to look at what's happened to our country. Are we really the land of the free and the home of the brave? If we don't have brave, we will not be free for long. You look at all of our rights being taken away minute by minute. Why is this happening? And I'll tell you, one of the big reasons is because of our lack of independency, because we're weak. We're weak. We're not strong. We are running around in fear. Businesses are closing left and right. Our rights are being abdicated. Why? Because we're weak. But it's not too late. So not only are we going to address the issues so we know them and bring them to the forefront, but we're also going to provide some remedies. And something hit me today. And
wait, something hit you? Nothing hits you.
No, I bobbed and, but hit me mentally because all right. Something I wanted to, I think it's necessary. And we're going to come to how I came to this conclusion. And, I'm not the only one that thought of this, but no one's done it the Master Phil way. And I think that this needs to be addressed. So let's talk about the fact that we have become weaker and how we're going to get stronger. But I want to bring on one of our special guests today. I met this gentleman online. He's a serious martial artist, jiu-jitsu, black belt, second degree black belt in jiu-jitsu under a great instructor, Professor Vincent, who I've known for quite a while. And he also has a black belt in Kempo. And he came up with this marketing success strategy company. Funny, because when I first met him, I really didn't need it because I was packed at my school. All right. I was about to put a cap on, and then COVID hit and my income dropped 78%. So with nobody showing up anyway and being mandated that we had to close, what was I going to do? So, I just really never did it. And then, a bunch of things changed, as we know, that I've since shut the studio and have gone pretty much online, and I'm focusing on other areas right now. But I want to bring this man on, no other than Lance Trippett. Come on in, Lance.
Hey, how's it going? Thank you, Mr. Phil.
Oh, pleasure. So tell us a little bit about your background, and then what you vision, what you see us as a country where we're lacking. We're going to discuss those things, and we're going to get your input on this and say, hey, how can we remedy this? Because I think that between us and any of the callers that come in, I think that we're going to come up with some good ideas, but we're going to have to talk about some of these issues first. But first, your background, Lance. Tell the audience.
So grew up in Maryland, outside of Annapolis. Ended up, I was kind of always an entrepreneur. Had a snowball stand, had a selling candy, like whatever it was, make a little scratch, and then ended up moving to Colorado. Went there originally out of high school to snowboard for a season. Ended up staying there, going to school out there. Got into martial arts. I always kind of boxed a little bit growing up with my dad and my grandfather, and then got into martial arts. That's when I was doing Kempo and some jiu-jitsu.
Let me roll that back for a second. Now, your dad and grandfather were boxers, or?
Yep. Yeah. So my dad boxed in the Navy, and my grandfather was a pro boxer back in the day. Very, very good, skilled boxer out of West Virginia.
Oh wow, that's cool. Because my grandfather was a boxing trainer, and he started me throwing hands when I was like 8 years old.
Oh yeah.
So,
same idea, just playing in the basement, watching my dad hit the bag. So then he'd teach me a little stuff. And then, that was kind of how it all started. And then moved out to Colorado, started learning some more. I did karate, regular karate as a kid, but just a couple years of it, never really got too much into it. Then when I got a little older, got out in the Colorado, I really picked it up and started doing that when I was 18, 19 years old.
So what did you think of the Kempo style? I've had some experience in it, but tell me about it. Because, I'll tell you straight up, my favorite martial arts TV movie star was
Jeff Speakman.
The Perfect Weapon, Jeff Speakman. Yeah. I mean, that guy was awesome. And I know that he wound up getting sick, and then he, had to put down his his film career to the side and worry about his health. But man, The Perfect Weapon, Jeff Speakman. I love that movie.
Yeah, I mean, the cool thing about what we're I'm a jiu-jitsu guy now, obviously, but Kempo is like one of those things you can make it flashy, like especially for television and for those kind of things. Like it's amazing. Look, people are moving fast and things are flying. Where jiu-jitsu is a little bit, it's a little harder to make it look cool when you're just kind of hugging. It's kind of like wrestling or whatever. So if you don't know what you're looking for, it's not as exciting, obviously.
No. But if you know what you're looking for, it's incredible.
Kempo is one of those things I think that's very effective, especially if it's kind of like an altercation, obviously, where maybe you have more than one person and you don't want to grapple, and so you can start throwing elbows and knees and whatever it is to start to try to take somebody out.
It's funny, even though I'm a big grappler as well, and grappling is my lifestyle. But unfortunately in the street, if you're wrestling with someone in the street, who wins the fight? The guy with the most friends. Okay, I don't know if you've ever been there, but I've been on the bottom. Yeah, I've taken guys down the street and then had 5 of their friends kicking me.
Yep, I've been there.
It's not so much fun.
No. Yeah, that's definitely you want to be striking and throwing something when you're in the streets.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. So let's talk about some of these issues. Now, there's this, I read a couple articles by this guy named Ryan Hoover, and he's talking about the demasculation of America, and being a man shouldn't be a bad thing. He writes a couple articles. He does start out that he's a feminist. I mean, look, I don't know what that means. It's the truth, but to me, it doesn't matter what your sex is, what your skin tone is, where you're from. I'm all about meritocracy.
Yep.
What do you bring to the table? What is your skill set? Because one of the problems that I see going on here is that in order to put forth this specific agenda, they found it necessary to drag down a portion of our society. And look, when I was a young guy, I'm a little bit older than you, but when I was a young guy, everybody wanted to be tough. Everybody wanted to be smart. Everybody, we challenged ourselves, man. We were always fighting. I mean,
Yep.
always fighting. Now if a kid gets in a fight in school, oh my God, put him on. He needs this SSRI to be on. So he's got to bring his mood down. He's got to get therapy. He's got anger management. Blah 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 blah. And I mean, if anybody's ever done anger management, to quote Rampage Jackson, they made me take anger management class, and it just pissed me off. Okay? I don't know if you ever met him, man. He's awesome. He's a great guy.
Yes.
I know. The guy's I love him. So, oh my God, my dog is molesting Doug. I know. I have a gender confused dog. She's trying to have her way. She's trying to have her way with Doug over here. Don't worry, she does it to my wife all the time. So, obviously, I can't have any issue with anyone, because it's my dog does. So, I love that dog more than anything. So, but what I'm talking about is that, you look at some of the stats on it right now, right? You look at the average grip strength of a college man. Okay. It's like 98 pounds per square inch. It used to be 133. I mean, their average grip strength is that of a 30-year-old housewife or a 30-year-old mother, raising kids. I mean, I don't get it. How do you not?
I gotta get mine tested, because that's what everybody says. I can't break his grips.
Yeah.
I want to see where I'm at.
Well, the thing is, if you look at the stats too, I'm not going to bore everyone with the exact numbers, but the decline of testosterone among males has dropped precipitously in the past 40 years by 1% a year, the average.
Really?
And you know why? Yeah. You know why? We don't pick up heavy stuff.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
You're not picking things up.
You pick up heavy stuff. Your body naturally says, I got to get stronger to be able to do this more efficient.
Exactly. And that's one of the major differences between men and women. The thing is, at one point, I was reading the information regarding this, is saying that, there was some 270 physical differences between men and women. And yet, when you look on a cellular level, it's like some 6,500 differences, which is completely crazy. So there's a lot of differences in men and women. Now, listen, here's the thing. I'm not saying one's better or one's worse. I'm just saying certain people, certain sexes, certain whatever, have proclivities toward accomplishing certain tasks. And, I would never stand in the way of anyone doing a job, except when we're taking the standard and lowering it.
Oh, absolutely.
And we're making it more difficult for men. And I'm telling you, especially white men.
Yeah.
Just for the heck of it, I looked at, I'm a college professor, so, I'm always looking around, and I got hit up to apply to this one college, and so I went on their website, to submit my application, and they boasted this whole thing about, we're 40% non-white. What does that mean? Why is that relevant? Well, who cares? I mean, the thing is, if we keep going along these lines, I know it's getting a little off the topic, but we're going to circle back. If we keep going along these lines, you say every time you look at a white guy, he got there because of white privilege, right? Every time you look at a black guy or a black woman, you say, they just got there because of affirmative action. Every time you look at a female in a high position, you say, well, she just got there because of this female initiative, and not on their merit, not based on meritocracy. And look, it may be true, it may not be true, but that's what immediately goes on in people's heads now because of the garbage we're being fed.
Uh-huh.
And it's even in applications. You go to apply for a job somewhere, right? And they say, "What's your sex?" The first one they put up is women, and then a whole bunch of different varieties. The transgender, all that kind of stuff. And the last one is male. The last one's male, and then it says your ethnicity. Boom, 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 boom. Last one's white. So
I haven't applied for anything lately. So I don't know.
I'm just looking at all these things because, again, I'm doing my research on it. I'm seeing and I said, well, let me see what's going on, because I saw the college thing. I'm like, well, what happens with some of these other companies? So I went to like a bunch of different websites to see what the application process is like. And, you know, my wife's a president of a company in, you know, obviously in corporate America. And I go, what's going on? She goes, well, the landscape's changed in the past 5 years. I'm like, yeah, this is crazy. You know, and all these companies have these. So look what Amazon said. We're going to hire 30% or 35% Black African Americans. I mean, what does that tell people? Okay, what's the message? So,
yeah, I don't really know. I mean, I know my wife is Asian. I have 3 daughters. You know, so I don't know. I don't know what exactly is happening on that side of it. I pretty much try to stay away from those kind of things. You know, obviously I tell my daughters like, hey, like, I want you to work hard. I want you to never like put yourself in a position or put yourself in a mindset of like, oh, I'm a woman, I can't do this, I can't do that. So like I'm always, you know, they wrestle, they do jujitsu, they do lacrosse, soccer, swim. And I tell them like, hey, you can do it. You can do it. Like, figure it out, work harder, like put more time in and you'll be better. So I always try to keep them in that mindset of like, it's up to you and you're going to decide whether you can move forward or not. And that's going to be a mindset thing for you yourself, saying like, I can do this or I can't do this. So I'm always like, that's one of the things with my daughters. I'm like, look, you have to put all that effort forward. You have to practice. You have to do the things that the work that has to go into something to get good at it. If you're not willing to do that, you know, you're not going to get the recognition of someone that is willing to do that work. You know, maybe you're not going to be that most athletic. Luckily, they are all very athletic and all very smart. But again, like, you can be as athletic as you want, but if you have no work ethic, if you have no ability to go hard when times are hard, you know, you're not going to be successful. And not only in sports or in school, but in life in general.
Absolutely. You know what? I share that sentiment exactly. I have 2 daughters and a son. And you know what? I treat everyone the same. You know, and I say always have to put forth your best. I mean, you know, my oldest daughter, she wasn't a terrific athlete, but she's a 2nd degree black belt with me, which is very, very difficult to get. I mean, it took her, I think, 15 years to get that. And she found what she was excelling at, and she's pretty good at powerlifting. And she set 3 state powerlifting records.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then on the academic side, she's in her PhD program from microbiology down at University of Florida. So yeah, I push my kids and I direct. And my son, on the other hand, he was pretty big, more of a natural athlete. And so I had to, a lot of things came naturally to him, but I still had to make him work. You know, kind of had to tap him a little bit, get him moving here. But yeah, he wound up graduating from Dartmouth, which is an okay school. And he's all decade North Jersey for shot put and disc. So, you know, he's 3rd team all decade, which is pretty good. He threw the shot put over 60 feet in high school.
Wow.
And you know, he's done very well for himself. And then I have my youngest, who is a very good natural athlete. But I have to keep her on task. She's like, squirrel, boom. Yeah. But the thing is, I always put forth, hey, you know what? Do your best.
Yep.
Be the best. Work hard. The problem that I see is that hard work is not being acknowledged now, and people want to get something for nothing. And the direction of, you know, hey, you know what? I want to be the best. I want to be tough. I want to be strong. I want to be smart. I don't see it. I don't see it. I see a decline in that. And you know what? This is going to just wreak havoc on our society. Because I'll tell you what, you know, whether you want to realize it or not, we're in competition with the Chinese. We're in competition with the Russians. And what are they doing? I mean, they're doing some, you know, they are not trying to bring down the level. Mm-hmm. They're not trying to make their men less masculine. I mean, you see the whole thing. I don't know if you saw the whole thing with Olivia. What's her name? Olivia
Newton-John?
No. You're really dating. Olivia Nunn, is that her name?
Oh yeah.
Olivia. Yeah, am I right?
What's she
Is that her
doing?
name? She was, and that cross-dresser guy, whatever his name was, some type of
Jenner, the Jenner?
not Jenner. No, it was like in the news recently. I can't remember. I don't even know half these people.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was a big thing about that he was wearing a dress and how great it was that he had a dress on and all this stuff. You know what? I mean, I could care less. If you want to wear a dress, wear a dress. But you know what? I'm not embracing it. I don't think it looks cool. I like the difference between men and women. And again, as I said, not saying one's better, one's worse, but there should be a difference. And you know, men are supposed to have testosterone.
Yeah.
Okay. The more testosterone, obviously, unless you're doing it, unless you're injecting yourself with steroids or something. But if you have more testosterone, it leads to better health for you. Okay. Stronger bones, better muscle tone. And you know what? This is not what's happening. So how are we going to go and, implement this stuff when boys are being taught not to roughhouse, not to be strong? You look at the decrease in wrestling participation. It's down 42% from the 80s.
Really?
Why is that? Oh, yeah. And then you look at that the pear shape of men, the ones that are pear shaped now. That's deemed okay. That's not okay. That's not okay. I mean, look, you're supposed to be V shaped. All right. And you see some.
I think a lot of it goes back to just jobs in general. Like a lot more people are, sitting around all day working on the computer versus out moving for, farmland or, manual labor jobs or any of these kind of things. And I think just in general, we're going to, as technology keeps advancing and as people keep getting lazier, like you said, these things are going to keep happening. Guys are going to be out of shape. Women are going to be out of shape. And that's why I think it's really important for, martial arts and for fitness and kettlebells and all of those things to be getting out in front of people as much as you can, and telling people like, hey, you need to be in shape. You're going to live longer. You're going to be happier. Like all of these things.
Yeah. I mean, you look at it this way, at only 24% of men and women ages 18 to 24, only 24% of them are in shape enough to pass the physical exam to become into the armed forces. You look at this, that over 70% of people in this country are overweight. Over 40% are obese. And I just talked about this way before COVID, right, Doug? On one of my podcasts, I talked about way before this happened, that the fact that we're so unhealthy, that we don't do that NEAT activity, what you were just talking about before, Lance, that non-exercise activity thermogenesis, if you're not engaging in that, whereas my grandparents did, whether my grandfather was working at the shop or my grandmother was actually cleaning stuff with her hands, not hiring someone to do it for, right? Doing the wash, picking things up, moving things, running a vacuum herself. My grandfather lifting things at work. We don't do that anymore. We're missing out on that NEAT activity. NEAT activity burns more calories than any workout you want to do.
Sure, because it's constant.
Exactly. Yeah. Constant. So people have to step up that NEAT activity, and one of the things that I've been putting forth is a thing called exercise snacks. Okay. Especially because we're sitting here on our duffs all day. Okay. Not working out. Well, and Doug knows, listen, I'll tell you, I taught a bunch of lessons yesterday, some online, some personal one-on-ones, and I did my training and I made my little one get out there and do rounds on the heavy bag and working on her jab. Got to get her jab better. So, see, I like tough women too. It's not that. Okay, but I'm not gonna say, I want my women to be tough, so I have to make my men weak. No, I want us both tough. I want us both strong. I want everybody smart. Why? I look at it like the Vikings. The Vikings, man. fought, the women fought, everybody, and they were all strong and tough. They didn't say, oh gosh, I got to make you weaker so I have a better shot. No, that's garbage. It's nonsense. That is a cop out. No, don't lower the standard. Okay, we're gonna get into that stuff too again. So, like Doug, what do I do every morning? And I was sore as heck this morning. I didn't feel like doing. What do I do every morning?
You
Doug?
got push-ups, sit-ups, planks. I know you do more than that.
No. I start my squats.
Oh, we got squats. Let me put the squats in there.
I do squats first because they suck.
Yeah.
I do squats. I do 50 squats, 50 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, and my bridges. And then I do my neck exercises every day, no matter what.
That's great.
And that's how I start my day.
That's why you're in such great shape.
And it's like, it's consistency. So if you do this every day, and it's the first thing you do when you get up. Now the exercise snacks, that's a nice little exercise snack, right? What does it take? Like 4 minutes, right? So then what I do when I'm sitting on my computer, because now I'm, at my desk in my house, because our classes for the college are all virtual. I'm working with online virtual startups for health and wellness. So what do? I have some kettlebells set up, pull-up bar. Every hour or so, I get up, I do some swings, some pull-ups, some dips, push-ups, whatever it is. I change it up every day. I go back to work. So if you do an exercise snack, it doesn't take that much, because it's recommended that we get 150 minutes of low to moderate intensity work in a week. So that's 30 minutes a day. So that's 3 10-minute walks. Okay. We're not doing it. Only 20% of the people in this country are meeting that. Then we wonder why we're obese, why we're having all these CHDs, there's cardiovascular heart disease. And you wonder why that, and if you look at COVID itself, right, 94% of the people who've died from COVID had a comorbidity. I'm sorry, an average of 2.6 comorbidities. So you know what? They weren't healthy.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And why aren't they healthy? Because they're what? They're not being active. They're not doing jujitsu. They're not swinging kettlebells. They're not hitting a heavy bag. And you don't have to do the stuff we like. Do Zumba. I don't know. Do water aerobics.
Play some pickup basketball.
Right.
Literally go outside and walk for 30 minutes a day, and it's going to help you in these areas. Like you don't have to be doing a physical combative thing, anything like that. Kettlebell, you don't literally if you just got out and walked and moved around a little bit more than what you're doing now, you will be in better shape, and cardiovascular wise and all of these things start to work better.
Exactly. So now here, let's look at this. And I say, well, gosh, okay, what does this have to do with we the sheeple? Plenty. Because I'll tell you why. Because our country was founded on people with independent thought, strong, brave people, not 80% of the population petrified of a virus. Yeah. I mean, there are still people right now to this day who are locked in their basements.
Oh, absolutely.
They're afraid to come out.
Yep.
They're afraid to come out. Listen, straight up, and I've been very vocal about this. I did jujitsu in January with a guy who had been one of my guys who had coronavirus. I rolled with him. I didn't get it.
Yeah.
Okay. The department head of my college, we had. I've been exposed to so many people that had it. I drove this summer. I drove up to Maine to see my son. I stopped along the way to see one of my guys in New Hampshire. I was out at bars, restaurants, beach, everything, right? Then I went down. I took my daughter down to her doctorate, drove to Gainesville with her, and we stopped in hotels, restaurants. I worked out in a gym, hotel, everything, right? I got tested 5 times. I didn't get this stuff, okay? Now, certain people are going to be immune to it. I don't know. Maybe my blood type has something to do with it. Maybe the fact that I'm in good shape. Maybe I was bobbing and weaving and the virus couldn't get me. I don't know what it was. But you have to look at, let's look at the factors, look at the major differences between how I live my life and how other people do.
Yeah.
The other thing is this, Lance, and here's something that's not being addressed. In order to boost your musculoskeletal system, in order to make your musculoskeletal system, what do you have to do?
Work out.
Work out, right? You got to tax it. You have to tax it.
Yeah, any muscle, you have to break it down before you can build it up.
Absolutely. And how is that? And if you look at your immune system, it operates on the same principle.
Yep. Absolutely.
So if we're sitting locked in our house, not getting vitamin D, not getting exercise, not exposing ourselves to viruses every day and bacteria, we're assaulted by millions of these things each day, and we're keeping sharp because we're keeping that, we're fighting it, we're being strong. Now, what happens to our immune system when we're not testing it?
Starts to get weaker.
Right.
It's more vulnerable.
Exactly. Look, and you know, I don't want to get too political, but I want to show what the message that's being put out there. Okay. Liquor stores are open. Pot is being legalized everywhere. They're talking about vaccines and drugs. How much emphasis has been put on by our federal, local, state, whatever government in advocating to work out? When we have over 300,000 deaths a year attributed directly to a sedentary lifestyle. Sedentary lifestyle has surpassed smoking as a number one preventable cause of death in this country. And then you look at this now, and almost every single comorbidity that kills that exacerbates the COVID situation.
Yep,
it's linked directly to sedentary lifestyle.
Sure, yeah, and like you said, that not only are they not promoting it, they're actually interfering or shutting down, making it more difficult for people to actually get a workout.
Oh yeah. Hey, look at this. I pulled up some data on some of the studies done from April to, I believe, end of September. So they did a 6-month window, and they tested 485 gyms with 7 million visits. And this is posted in the CDC. I have it. I have the references and everything. Now, what do you think the rate of transmission was for COVID in those facilities?
I would imagine very low. I wouldn't know.
I'll tell you, 0.0023%. That's a joke. So you're closing a fitness facility because it's as our dipstick hair commandant Governor Murphy says, it's a petri dish. Dude, you know nothing. Matter of fact, you know less than nothing. As a matter of fact, you know what we're going to do, Doug? We're going to go see the guy from Attila's gym. We're going to drive down there, and we're going to. You don't have to. I'm going to work out. You film it. I'm going to work out in his gym because I don't care what happens. I'm doing it. We're going to go down and see Ian Smith and Frank Trombetti down there at.
They just got another fine for $123,000.
Yeah, I mean they keep finding him. Yeah, and he's fighting. God bless this guy. I want to go in there, give him some money. And support them and show physical support as well. You know, what they're trying to do is to keep us down, keep us weak, keep us doped up, keep us stupid, and people have to fight back. And the first way to do it is by making yourself strong, because you know what? It's a sound mind and a sound body.
Yep.
You have to have a strong mind and strong body. And you know what? If our bodies are weak, we're scared. People are scared. I'm strong. You're strong. I mean, are you scared right now of this?
No.
Okay, exactly. Look, I respect the fact that this coronavirus can kill. I mean, obviously, I'd be a fool to say it does.
Yeah.
Obviously. But you know what the funny thing is? If you look at the death rate last year compared to the death rate this year, you know, with these 200 and some odd thousand people who have COVID attributed deaths, the death rate's the same as it was.
Oh, yeah. Well, because everyone that has died of COVID.
Yeah, I know. It must be COVID. Yeah, I know. You know what was funny? Because I didn't see any stats from the flu. Flu takes out 40 to 80,000 people a year, and I don't see that.
No, so, like you said, this is a power grab. It's a, you know, I have a buddy that's a Maryland delegate. And you know he's got multiple businesses, and like his stuff has been shut down as well. and he said, like, his kind of thing is like they're basically picking winners and losers. They're saying like, hey, if you're a big company that has big money and big lawyers, like, we're not going to shut you down. But like, if you're a local mom and pop or a gym or a restaurant, like, you don't have any real kickback or authority to be able to come after us to change anything. So we'll go and kind of say you guys are gonna be the losers. We're gonna pick all these corporate monsters as winners. There's
no doubt what you're saying is 100% true. Okay, first of all, just look at what's happening. Look at who like you said, they're picking the winners and losers. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to crush the independent spirit of the American people.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? It starts by, one, making us weak. Two, making us dependent. Now, they're making us weak by having us shut down and be scared. Okay, because fear is a great motivator. And you know what? If people are physically weak, they're afraid.
Yeah.
They're more afraid, or they're more apt to be afraid. Okay. When you're stronger, your confidence is up, your esteem's up, your energy level is up.
Yeah. You have, like you said, like, I mean, you can see when somebody walks into a martial arts or a gym, when they first walk in, most of the time they're not very confident. They're set back, shy, all of these things. A month, 2 months, 3 months into it, their endorphins are going. They have more testosterone going. They're more confident. They walk with their head up. They feel more confident. And like you said, when they're not in those situations, they go right back to that sheltered kind of that sheltered look.
Exactly. You brought up the endorphin release. Now, you know what the common thought on that is, well, gosh, if you feel bad, take this pill. You feel bad, take this other pill. Here, go to therapy, go to treatment. You know what? You know what you need to do?
Work out.
Work out. Release the endorphins, because I'll tell you what, all that data on the I don't know if you know, I'm CIT certified in ethics in testing, and what's happened with these SSRIs is selected serotonin reuptake inhibitors. Those are all those antidepressant, anti-anxiety drugs, and all that kind of stuff. The testing that was done on them is completely erroneous. The way that they manipulated the data to a point, because they wanted to push these drugs. I mean, you're better off working out.
Oh, absolutely.
But here's the tough thing: they're not pushing that because they want us medicated. Look, if you look at how many kids are on some type of antidepressant, some type of mood altering, mood controlling substance. In the high school, sometimes up to 50% of the kids are on these in certain school districts. Gosh, when I was in school, nobody was on that stuff.
Yeah.
And now that, if a kid's hyperactive, he gets in fights. Oh gosh, he needs counseling. He's got to get put on this drug. He's got to get put on that one. We got to calm him down. And it's mostly boys they're doing it to, and especially boys in the suburbs. Okay.
Yeah.
That's where it's happening. And then this whole notion of what's it? Toxic male. Whatever. Whatever. Okay. Like I need Gillette, stupid rape company, to tell me that I'm not supposed to rape someone. Yeah, no kidding, Einstein. Treat women right. Yeah, I know that. Okay, it's called upbringing.
Yeah.
And here's one of the problems that I see also. When all these kids are there playing on their computers and doing all these Call of Duty and Make a Duty or whatever they're doing, as opposed to getting on a mat, getting an elbow in their face, getting choked, getting punched or kicked in the head in a sparring class, then they get appreciation for what it's like. And I'll tell you, it leads for a much more respectful society when you know that if you do the wrong thing, you can get cracked in the mouth. You see, this is where sometimes, and I know I'm probably going to get crucified for this, but I could care less, where men and women differed, or at least they used to, because I don't know about these guys nowadays. 90% of them don't look like they can do anything. But like guys would be more respectful in an argument, because we know that when we have an argument, it's going to lead to a fist fight. So if I say the wrong thing to this guy, he's going to punch me in the mouth.
Yep.
Okay. Now, women generally did not have that.
Yeah.
I know some of these dynamics are changing, but women didn't have that. So that's why a lot of issues with
women in general are typically going to be more pacifist, more kind of like, go away from an argument versus like, where guys can typically start to, that gets you going like, yeah, you want to argue? I'll argue with you. Like,
yeah, exactly.
More hard-headed, I guess it would be.
Yeah. But now you see that what's being promoted is an aggressive female and a passive male. Look, I don't have any problem with anyone being aggressive and stand up for the rights, whether it's a male or female. But don't say it's okay for this person, this group or gender to do it, and it's not okay for this one.
Yeah. I have like I talked about with my daughters. So my oldest daughter is very strong-willed, I would say. Like
that's a word.
She is a leader, like of leaders, right? So but in class, in these different things, I see people like, oh, you're being bossy. Don't be bossy. You shouldn't be bossy. And I tell her like, hey, don't be rude. Don't be disrespectful, but be a leader. Like if they can't understand that you're a leader and maybe sometimes you're not being a leader in the right way, like maybe you're telling someone to do something versus showing them or leading them in the proper way. But I want you to be that person. I want you to be the person that has a mind of their own, that is a leader and that is pushing. It's going to be a successful trait for you in the future versus like, you're a bossy girl. Don't be a bossy girl. Like people don't like bossy girls. Like, no, like be bossy, be a leader, just do it in the right way. Like learn the tactics of being a leader and how to lead people versus just telling someone what to do.
Come on, stop. Someone must be outside the door. We got our little pit bull guarding us. Quiet up. Anyway, so hold on, let me grab her. Come here.
Lulu.
All right. She wants to be on camera as always. But the thing that we have to do is embrace the leadership qualities, no matter who somebody is, whether it's a guy, a girl. But the thing that I'm seeing right now, what's being pushed, is that the male is supposed to now be more passive. That is this big push in the media, social media, so forth. And you know what? It's going to destroy our country, because if we have a bunch of weak men, does Russia have weak men?
No.
Is China advocating weak men? No. And you know what? We're going to be in trouble. We're going to be in trouble. I remember back in the day that my dog is trying to have her way with Doug. Back in the day, when we had to go out for wrestling, okay, we had a freshman team. You had to make the freshman team. Freshmen weren't allowed to wrestle with varsity. Okay? Yep. And you had to wrestle off to make JV. You had to wrestle off to make a freshman team. Yeah. Now you have schools that can't even fill every weight class, and their JV squads, there's like 4 or 5 on the team.
Yep.
Why is that? Well, it's a lot easier to do a lot of things. And we talked about this on one of my other podcasts about being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So, this is how are we going to how do we reach people, Lance? What do you think we need to do here to say, hey, you know what, guys, it's okay to be strong. Yeah. Okay. It's a good thing. Because if you look at most of the, over 3/4 of the educators are women. And if you look at it right now, you look at the trends in colleges, over 57% of the graduates are women, and women are making more money than men coming out of college at this point now. So when are we going to start saying, hey, okay, it's great that the women have made strides. It's awesome, man. I never want to hold anyone back. I make my girls do the same amount of push-ups as my guys. I could care less. You know what? Yeah. But When are we going to start just having meritocracy rule as opposed to check boxes and intersectionality? And when are we going to go on merit? We were doing something in the town. They had like Santa Claus, and then they had the fire department there, right? And there's two little young women in their fireman outfits. Okay, all dressed in their garb. And my wife's like, says to my daughter, "Oh, look at that! Look at that! So cool! We got look at those fire. Look at the firemen. They're women. Da 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 da." I'm like, "Ah, that's cool, great. But if there's a fire, can she pick me up and throw me over her shoulder, carry 190 pounds down a flight of stairs? I don't know."
Hopefully.
looking at that 5 foot nothing frame of hers, I doubt that she'd be able to carry my wife down the flight of stairs. I said, "No." I go, "Be careful what you want." See, and again, I don't have an issue with anything. Like one time I was in New York City and I saw this female cop. She was like 6'3". I'm like, okay, not a problem. She could break up a fight. But when you see this 5'1" cute little police officer, sorry, what are you going to do?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know what the answers are. I just, I try to focus on the people that I can influence, and whoever those are, whether they be in my immediate circle or like, through internet marketing and through podcasts and YouTube channels and stuff like that. And I just push my information out, and I try to see if people are like-minded and kind of move that way. And then hopefully that circle grows, I think it's great that we have guys like David Goggins and Jocko and these guys that are very masculine guys that are so popular now, Joe Rogan podcasts and things like that,
right.
that can really start to get these large masses of people to look at maybe a different side of things. I think those people that have those large influences are going to be the ones that hopefully can keep pulling. You get onesie twosies off of the other side from time to time, and hopefully you can kind of keep doing that, and you start to build yourself back up. I do see those issues. People being scared to say what they think. People, all of these things that kind of happen just because you don't want to be labeled a certain way, even if you're not that certain way.
It's funny because you do have to stand up, and a lot of people feel the way that we do, but they're afraid to speak up. I'm purposely speaking up because I think that it's bad for our society, and I think it's bad for our men, and it'll eventually be bad for our women. It'll be bad for everyone. So you have to base things. And look, if you look at the words of Martin Luther King, right? What do you say? Based not on our color of our skin, but in the content of our character. So you know what? It's all about meritocracy. Do you deserve it? Have you earned it? Have you worked hard? Because I see the whole hard work notion being replaced by entitlement. And this is why there's that whole socialist kind of, attitude that's being advocated in our institutions, and also being advocated in social media and in the media in general. We have to take control of our lives. We have to be accountable. And I'll tell you, the first way to start is start by working out.
Yep.
Make yourself feel better. And, if you look at it, this is one of the things I love about the martial arts, because the martial arts are a microcosm of life. Okay. Yeah. You have successes, you have failures, you have to put in to get somewhere. And if you don't, then you don't get there. I mean, if you want to take a socialist ideal and apply it to martial arts school, say, well, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. Everyone here is going to be a purple belt in jiu-jitsu, right? So all the white belts and blue belts be like, awesome, that's great. And the black belts would be like, no, black belts and brown belts, no way, I don't want to go for that. Well, hey, listen, this is how we're going to do it from now on. Well, and that's what's being basically advocated right now, and that shouldn't be. It should be based on your hard work, your knowledge.
Well, and I think the as they say, the cream will always rise to the top. So it's, even if someone gets a placement based on whatever it is, even if they don't own that or don't have that ability or don't have the merit, as you said, eventually those things are going to shine through, and people that you work with are going to notice that, like, man, this guy doesn't pull his weight, this lady doesn't pull her weight.
Right.
So eventually I think even with the things that are happening, I think the cream will rise to the top, and the people that are better will continue to rise. And the people that aren't cutting it, they're going to eventually have the problems that they're going to have based on they weren't given those. They weren't rewarded things for, like you said, that merit versus just being rewarded something. And it starts all the way down with kids sports. Everybody gets a trophy. There's parents aren't allowed to yell on the sidelines. Like, I mean, all kinds of craziness.
The only issue that we got going on though is that the people who get into power, I've seen some of these people. I don't know how they got there and why we're listening to them.
That's for sure.
It's like I see some of these guys, and it's just terrible. And then they put laws in place that if you speak out, well, then you could lose your job, and it's happening. It's happening.
Yeah, it's crazy, and especially with the kind of two-party system, it's very hard to get away from any of this because I don't care if you vote right or vote left, like. Pretty much all these guys are buddies at the end of the day. Even though they may seem like they hate each other and they have completely different views, most of them are their views or whatever things they put in place are going to benefit them and their friends. And with that kind of two-party idea, it's very, very hard to get past those laws and things that people are putting in place. And I think a lot of that is why so many people on the right and on the left and in the middle were against Donald Trump, because they couldn't control that. Like there was things that were happening that, man, he's like talking to the people on the left when he shouldn't be, and he's doing things on the right that he shouldn't be. And I think they saw that as a very big threat to the overall kind of program that we have now, right and left.
The swamp. Yeah. Now, if you think about this, if you look at just when you were doing that, I don't know if you've ever experienced, I hope you never do, but go to divorce court. Okay. So you go to divorce court. Well, hopefully it never happened to you. Yeah. But if you go to divorce court, right, you have your attorney saying one thing to you, your ex-wife's attorney saying something to them. Okay. It's very contentious, right? Now, and then they got the judge sitting there in the middle. And then all the three of them are meeting and yucking it up. and you two are trying to kill each other. And the bill's getting higher and higher and higher. Okay? That's what's going on with our politics.
Sure.
These both sides are with each other. And we just keep paying and paying and paying and hating and hating and hating on each other more and more. And the way they do is they keep us distracted by keeping us weak, keeping us afraid, keeping us inundated with sports, keeping us out of the knowledge loop, and making us dumber and dumber.
Yeah, I agree. I think, the weak, like, again, like if your society's weak, they can't rise up against. Like, right. If you take guns away, they don't have anything to rise up against with. Right. So it's like, and if you feed into the mentality of like, hey, it's right against left, it's white against black, it's men against women, like whatever that is. If it's not like, no, man, we're all together in this, and we have to see that like these outside forces are doing things that are putting things in front of us that start those catalysts and start those arguments and problems.
No. 100% right. Is Jack waiting? Oh, he's not. He's not. Oh, okay. I saw paused up in the corner. Okay. All right. Guess he didn't come in. All right. Man, you know what? I agree with you 100%. And now, when I told you, I said that I was thinking about starting something up, and I think I need to do a Master Phil Man Up seminars. Just hey.
It's funny you say that. I've seen a lot of these Facebook. I'm always looking at Facebook ads and stuff because that's one of the things that I do. But I've seen a lot of these camps come up, a 4-day immersion, leadership men's camp, and like these things where it's like these guys are going and basically they're going through like a 4-day boot camp where they're getting water sprayed on them and they're learning martial arts and getting punched in the face for the first time. And these things are starting to pop up a lot on Facebook now. They have these courses and things like that. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, because I got some guys too, ex-military guys and so forth, and I think we can put something nice together. Because look, man, how many guys don't even know which end of a knife to use? I can't imagine. I can't imagine being a guy and never been punched in the face.
Yeah.
Come on.
And I think it leads to a lot of the things that we said. Like, if you've never been punched in the face, like it's easy to sit behind a keyboard and talk trash or do those kind of things where it's like, oh, this guy, like, what are they gonna do? Like, what are they gonna do?
I purposely maintain my decorum when I'm online, and then when someone gets right with me, I said, listen, you can apologize now, or if you want to speak like that to me, let's do this face to face.
Yeah,
I haven't had any takers. I'm easy to find, But look, it doesn't need to go that. It doesn't need to go there. Look, we're going to use either in combat or self defense. That's the only time I'm going to use my skills.
Yep.
But you know what? But maintain that decorum. And you know what? You will maintain that level of respect if you have been punched in the face, if you have been choked, if someone has thrown an armbar on you, you will learn respect and you will respect other people. But if you're just sitting there pressing your little thumbs or your fat little butt in the chair, with your 30 friends on, game of duty, you're not going to learn respect. You're not going to learn what it's like to get cracked. And you know what? It takes no effort to do that. And the other thing is, what about the bonding that occurs when you train with someone?
Yeah.
My best friends are the guys I exchange sweat with and training and fighting and, shoulder to shoulder and battle and stuff. Those are my best friends.
Well, like you said, it's a microcosm there too, because it's, it's really a very good splinter of society. It's white and black people. It's cops fighting, people that have been in prison, like not fighting but training. Men, women, like kids, like all of these things are coming in that like outside of a martial arts school, jiu-jitsu academy, whatever it is, like these people probably wouldn't exchange, talk, whatever. But in this, it's like, man, we're all equal. We're here working out together. We're, like you said, we're sweating, we're training, we're throwing each other down, we're punching each other, whatever it is. And then at the end, it's like hugs and shakes and hey, let's grab a beer.
You're not going to get that online.
No.
It's not going to happen.
No.
You have to be physical. You have to be training. You have to be sweating. You have to be putting forth effort, encouraging the other person, right? Being encouraged by other people. Look, none of us walked out and were great martial artists or strong from the beginning. Yes, some of us had more propensity, to be better naturally, athletically, but everybody had to learn.
Yeah.
Everybody had to have someone who cared about them. And there's nothing more like that than your coach, whether it's a basketball coach, wrestling coach, weight training coach, whatever it is. But and this is what we need. And there's no better conduit than the physical realm to do it.
Yeah. And I think it's, also it goes to the idea of just being humble. Like when, I walk around a little heavier now. I'm about 200 right now. I usually about 185. But Vicente, who's my master, my black belt, my instructor. I train with him every day on a daily basis. 100. He walks around 145, 155, and beats me every time. Like, and when you see that and you understand those, like, man, like it doesn't matter how big you are. And me, I go against, ex NFL football players that are 250 and 300, and I do the same to them. And it's like, you start to see that humbleness of like, man, you don't know what that guy knows. You don't know what that guy's carrying. Like, I'm not going to talk bad.
Right, exactly. Just before we wrap it up, I was really a short story. Do you remember a place called the Rendezvous Inn, called the View in College Park?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That was big when I was in school. And I was off work one night, kind of sitting there, hanging out, just having a beer, relaxing. And this big guy was harassing this little guy. I mean, this guy was maybe 5'2". Okay. This big guy was 6 something. I mean, a big dude. And he's pushing him. I'm like, God damn. This all happens very quick. I don't know if you're ever a bouncer. Sure. But I'm okay. So I'm like, do I do something my night off? Let the other guys handle it. Oh man, I worked 4 nights tonight, had 37 fights. It's like, and I go to get up, and all of a sudden I hear this blood curdling yell. The big guy's on the floor, the little guy's gone. Okay. The guy's laying on the ground, and his leg is off to the side. The little guy side kicked him in the knee. Blew it out. Oh my God. It was nasty. I was like, oh, snap. Don't mess with anybody. Don't just leave people alone.
Yeah.
Now, if you're online, you're never going to see that. You're never going to know what can happen when you mess with the wrong person.
Well, yeah. And if you're really good at like Call of Duty or Tekken or whatever you're playing, you think your skills match your avatar online.
No, not quite.
Yeah.
But Lance, I'll tell you what, it was great to having you on. Now, is there anything you want to promote? I know promote your martial arts. So, go ahead, roll with it, brother.
Cool. I've got a couple things going on. So obviously, I've got a couple gyms in Maryland that we have Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai academies. Conquest is that. I do Conquest martial arts, yeah. So we're right outside of Annapolis area, Millersville and Pasadena. So that's
you got an Instagram handle I could put up for you?
Should be BJJ Conquest, I think.
BJJ Conquest.
Yep. Or just Lance Trippett. Everything kind of is intermingled, so you kind of see it.
Check
and
the spelling.
Yeah, you spelled it right.
Very good.
Yeah. And then obviously, if anyone owns an academy, we help academy owners grow. One of the things that is a really, I feel like martial arts is a really, really honorable kind of profession, especially martial arts instruction, because it, not only do you build confidence in people, obviously weight loss, skills, muscle, all of those things that we kind of do and helps kids become leaders and confident and all that kind of stuff. So I just think what martial art instructors do is really, really an honorable profession. And I want, obviously with COVID, lots of people are being closed. Lots of people are choosing to close just because of the difficulties of it. And so, I want academy owners to be able to make a decent living, to have a good, reputable, thing around town that, it's not looked down like, oh, this guy's a martial arts instructor. He's not on the same level as this lawyer or doctor or banker or whatever. So I want academy owners to have that same kind of level of respect, as police officers, as teachers, all of these things that have a good level of respect, but also want a paycheck to go along with that. So, we help academies grow and try to help them start to build those skills and build those business acclimates as much as their skills on the mat. So that's at MMA Studio Seekers. Just growmyacademy.com.
Yeah. Okay. What's the? Could you put that
growmyacademy.com, and that just kind of puts you in and shows you some testimonies and case studies and things like that.
All right. Awesome. That's great. And guys, also just to let you know that the Body Bell method is available online, and the certification carries ACE credits for learning. That's the bodybuildmethod.com. Learn how to work out in a minimalist fashion with very little equipment whatsoever and get really strong. We don't curse on this podcast, so I'm not going to say it. But guys, again, great podcast today. And Lance, thank you very much for being a guest.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Are you ready? All right, folks, thank you for another episode of Master Phil in your corner. Strength and honor.
Oh, what's coming?
Where's our music?
It's coming.
All right.
Love it.
Awesome.